This, so you can go ahead and put the record on. Great. Hey, thanks so much. Hey, welcome everybody. We've got some more joiners, but we'll record this. I want to get quickly going on this. I want to say hello to you. I'm out here on the East Coast, so it's just about noon. We're going to talk about the practitioner on Courseware Marketplace. So, our courseware, including Instructor Kits, etc., is available on Fultoric.com, but we also, as a courtesy to Microsoft and to MCTs, etc., make the courseware available on the Courseware Marketplace, the Arvardo Bertelsmann site, which is where Microsoft puts its community courseware. So I just wanted to, so we're going to go over that, understand what's available up there, how it relates to the rest of the stuff we have. Also, wanted to go over the fact that we have a couple of events here that are recorded. So you can go here to YouTube or our YouTube site. There's plenty of stuff on Practitioner thus far that go over. So a couple of things real quick. We have a couple of price drops. Our hard copy and soft copy of the Foundation courseware has always been $154 on our site. It was a little bit more expensive on the Courseware Marketplace because of the printing and some other things. But we dropped the price down to $154 there, and we're also dropping the price of our digital courseware to $136. So just FYI, we're changing that on the website today. But basically, it just reflects what the prices are on Courseware Marketplace. The digital, as you know, is a protected PDF. One of the things I'm super excited about, also, and let's get to this here. The Foundation, we've got two additional sample exams. If you don't have them, just ask Crystal to forward them on to you. But they're going to be included in the next iterations of the Instructor Kit, as well as the courseware. So it gives you 4 exams. We actually have a 5th exam, believe it or not, that we made up. So that's plenty to exercise at the Foundation. So the other piece that I'm really excited about, the old format for the digital ebook had like a sort of an image up top, which was this kind of a slide image, and then the notes. We've actually updated that, and it's going to be the same for Practitioner and all our courses going forward, to be editable, searchable, annotatable, highlightable text. So that's pretty cool. It's much more like an ebook and less like a version of a hard copy book. That just helps with indexing, searching, annotation, etc. So that's really cool. And also, we're extending the courseware license terms. We've also always sort of had an agreement with people when they come in and they say, hey, I want it for a couple more months. We've always obliged them, but now we're sort of making it official that the CBTs and the digital ebook, that the terms are really the same as a hard copy book. You bought it, you keep it, you have it forever, that sort of thing. Okay? So those things are new. But we're going to cover really what Practitioner is, how it fits in the qualification scheme, some of the timelines and costs. There's some updates here. Some of this information, if you've come to one of these sessions before, is not new, but we've updated some of it here. So we're going to the exam, the publication, the courseware, so let's go over it. So we know what ITIL Practitioner is. It's the latest evolution in this ITIL framework. It's an official new publication, an official new Excelos ITIL examination, and based on this new publication, it's complementary to Foundation, meaning that the ITIL books cover the what and the why, but don't necessarily cover the how, and that's where Practitioner comes in. It gives a lot of how content on adapting ITIL. So the certification is available to people who have a Foundation, and it's not just a course, it's also a bunch of practical guidance and a toolkit. There's a whole bunch of elements in the toolkit, a lot of templates, samples to work on. Interesting to note in our course that we turned that toolkit, which is basically the back of a book, into a bunch of Word documents, Excel documents, things that you could readily just take and use. So the idea is to take what you learn in Foundation and put it into practice. So it is out. It's a brand new thing. It follows on from Foundation. There's no need to take Practitioner after Foundation, but from an industry standpoint, it's the most exciting thing ever for ITIL, and the longest I can remember, which is it targets the 2 million plus people who are ITIL Foundation certified and says, hey, you learned what this stuff was and why you should do it. Let's learn a little bit more about how to do it. So that's exciting that way. So it gives you 3 credits towards practitioner, but you don't have to go through, or towards expert, but you don't have to go through and take practitioner to get your expert. It's an optional thing to do. So we have a poster that we put together that has these 9 principles, the 6 steps, and the 3 critical competencies. So that's free and downloadable at Toolkit. You can also order hard copies or whatever. But this is really nice to give people just sort of a totem pole to walk through and understand what this thing covers. So let me just go ahead forward. So again, it's 3 points. You don't have to traverse practitioner to get to your expert, but you can. And even if you never get to expert, what I'm excited about is that you take foundation, the what and the why. You take practitioner, it's the how. So that's a lot of people. I just took the exam, so it's very fresh to mind. It's 40 questions. It's 105 minutes. It took me about 30 minutes less to finish it. I think I have some content in here about that. The price of the exam, it's all live. You can take an Exit Anywhere exam online. You know, you can order these exams on the on Exit or Exam Sessions. That's all live right now. The passing score is a little bit harder than Foundation. It's interesting. It's not a scenario like the intermediates where you have a multiple choice, complex multiple choice questions. They're simple multiple choice questions. The scenario is a lot more high level. So if you're familiar with the intermediate scenarios, where it goes in depth with a company, somewhat in depth, you know, for a scenario, and it'll go into naming names and naming processes and giving information on their state. This is much more at the organizational level and mentions a couple of things, and then the style is that it introduces additional information to answer like a set of, for example, 6 questions. So, you know, here's the backgrounder, which is the scenario, and then here's some more information about this to exercise these next 6 questions, which are really around you know, identifying stakeholders, etc. And the reason that they do it in that style is so that they can exercise the tools, the toolkit, and your knowledge of the toolkit in the exam. So the course is available. The e-learning is available, the book and the ebook, the Instructor Kit, everything's available now at Toolkit.com. It's the official version. The book and ebook will be available on the Courseware Marketplace in early March. The reason for that is we submit a ebook to them, and then they put it through a process where they convert it to the skill type reader. I don't know how much you know about the Courseware Marketplace, but one of the things that's cool about it is there's a downloadable ebook reader. It's kind of like, you know, Kindle, and you use that, and that works on an iPad, it works on a Kindle, it works on a Windows machine, it works on lots of different devices. I think they might even have an Android. Yeah, I think they have an Android app as well. So it really makes the same content. And the beauty here for you guys is, you know, if you think about it, typically we have people order courseware, exams, etc., Instructor Kits on Toolkit.com, but the Courseware Marketplace allows you to have an outlet where you can get this other format for the digital content, which if you have customers who want to use it on iPads, etc., or Android devices, they can do it with this thing. And much like the digital content that we have on the version we sell on Toolkit, you can annotate it, you can mark it up. I've used it, it's cool. You can highlight things, bookmark, add comments, etc. It's pretty cool. And then the real zinger here for everybody is everything ties out. What I want to make sure you guys understand is that all of our courseware, no matter whether it's CBT, on the Courseware Marketplace, digital, hard copy, all the page numbers align, they're all interchangeable. So if you can basically go a la carte with a customer and use some digital courseware, some hard copy courseware, buy it here, buy it there, etc. So here's what the things are. The Instructor Kits are only available, CBTs are only available on Toolkit.com. What's available in the Courseware Marketplace is the digital courseware and a version of the hard copy courseware. We prefer, unless there's a compelling reason for you to buy on Toolkit.com, but again, the skill pipe reader is a killer for situations where you want to have a downloadable that works on a variety of platforms besides a Windows platform. Okay, so the Practitioner publication is out. We've got a bunch of copies of it. You can order it online. The exam is hard copy only, so you cannot have a PDF. I think this is really important. It's kind of a pain in the neck. Students, if they want to take the exam, and they don't have to have the hard copy book, but it really helps. I took the exam, and it did help, because there's some questions that really hinge on what the verbatim is. Like, they'll ask things like, well, where is this? Which step of the CSI process is this approved? And, well, there's levels of approval, right? We know that in a waterfall, as you go through the CSI process, that there's a sort of a pre-approval at a concept level at this one, and then later on it's more detailed. And the verbatim kind of text, that's where the question hinges on. So it's good to have the hard copy book. So the book, if you haven't seen it, it's additional content. It's the HAL stuff. So even though it references the CSI, it dovetails in the CSI. CSI says what to do and why. The official ITIL Practitioner publication says how. So it has a toolkit in the back, and we've converted those in the course. All those are attached in the course as Word documents, Excel, so it's more ready to hand than the hard copy in the back of the book or in the back of the PDF if they buy the ebook. So it covers, the guiding principles, the CSI approach, and then these three core capabilities. Can we measure metrics and measurement? Can we communicate? How about organizational change management? So we have this poster. Here's the course objectives. First, they cover up what does it mean to adopt and adapt, and they walk through this. What's the components of the definition of a service? And it's interesting content. These things don't really have toolkit components. Then they get into the guiding principles. So they list out these principles that are here, and they talk to them. And those are peppered throughout the rest of the course. In fact, there's a annotation throughout the publication that we preserve in our courseware, which is references to toolkit items, references to principles are all explicitly made. The idea as you learn later and you apply these three core competencies, there's always referencing back and saying, this is an example of this guiding principle, start where you are, etc. Okay, so that's the layout there of the course, and here's the timing. I want to emphasize it's basically a 3-day course, and it's basically, I would allocate, even though it's supposedly less context hours than Foundation, I allocate the same amount of time because, think about it, if you're going to take a 1-hour test, 1 hour, 5-minute test, the sample exams and your revision time is going to be longer than a 40-minute test. So, it's roughly the same. And add the fact also that it's an application-oriented course. You're going to spend more time with the activities, and I'll show you those because you're supposed to get hand-on. So here's how it moves. You'll see that this moves in the same order as the book, so that just helps you stay organized and your customers stay on track. Instructor and participant contents are pretty straightforward. The instructor guide looks like all our instructor guides. We have a main PowerPoint. It's a protected PowerPoint. But it launches in PowerPoint, and it's cool because you can modify it, you can annotate it, you can add your own slides, etc. to it. We don't recommend you deleting or adding slides, even though you can, because we want to preserve the page number, right, in the PowerPoint presentation. But you can modify things, etc. as you see fit. There's end of module quizzes, questions and answers. There is a scenario, you'll see that. And then we've taken all the voiceovers that are in the CBTs and put a transcript in there because if you're delivering this as an instructor, you can use those examples as a basis for your own. So here's the pricing, etc. The participant components, same as you'll see in Foundation and in our other courses. They have all this stuff here. Yeah, so that's all in the participant kit. Pretty straightforward. And then the Instructor Kit. Same layout as all our instructor kits. You've got additional files. There's a case study scenario that's added. So let's get into that a little bit. All of the handouts that are in the toolkit, in the back of the toolkit in the book, are made into handouts here. So you'll see all of these things. And these also get exercised in the activities. So we've taken the toolkit portion of the book, taken each of the things in the toolkit and made it into a template, which is a handout, and then we've also created activities around those. And that's really important because as an application course, you want the students to get hands-on with the content. So whether they're self-learning with an CBT or e-learning, or in a classroom setting with an instructor, it's really important they actually exercise both the scenario, because the scenario that's in the sample exam is the same one used in the actual exam, and the activity. So we endeavored to dovetail the two together and have you exercise the toolkit through the scenario. Okay, so the way we did the activities is we drove them through the scenario. So very much like the style of the exams, where they have the scenario, it's the same scenario, then they introduce some additional content. We typically do that kind of thing with our activities. So they're all driven through here. So here's a distribution by modules you see of these, and this actually mirrors the distribution in the toolkit. It's interesting to look at this because organizational change management is difficult for a lot of people. Most of the templates in the toolkit are concentrated here, and as well as measuring metrics, the second one that's hardest, and that's also where our activities are concentrated. So we've got two up here at the top that get you going that are not related to the toolkit. There's just basically exercises the students' knowledge of adopting, adapting, and the uses of the components of the definition of a service, and then we have a scenario analysis. So it's a simpler scenario analysis than some of the case analysis that you may be familiar with us, because the scenario itself is a little simpler in this. When I say simpler, I mean higher level. It covers the organization and not drilled down into specific processes, etc. And their state. It's just mentioned and glosses over that a little bit. But basically, that's what's covered here. And then we have a scenario analysis activity. That's sort of, let's see if I have that in Word here somewhere. I think I do. Actually, I don't have it pulled up, but it's pretty straightforward, that analysis. But here they are. So you'll see that our activities mirror the toolkit items, and they exercise each. A couple of things real quick to give you an update on. If you haven't done your train the trainer yet, and getting ready to deliver this, obviously if you're associated with us, any questions you have on course delivery or exam, pull me aside. You can always email me or call me. You do get a free exam. If you are listed with a trainer with any organization, you can get a free exam. And that the expiration date of the free exams has been moved out to the end of March or beginning of April. And to teach the course, you're supposed to have your foundation, a valid current foundation. So if you have an old V2 foundation or something, you got to update that. We've had a couple of hundred trainers worldwide have to go back and up that. But there is a grace period here. So this is the information here. You'll see this in the recording as well. But these are the basic requirements that have been communicated to us in terms of, in order to teach this, you must have foundation. You should also get your practitioner, and they're going to make it easy for you. But you also should have the CSI. So if you, for example, didn't take the life cycle track to get your expert, or you've never had the CSI, you need to take that at least by the end of the year, right? The idea is that they don't want you to just have foundation. This is obvious, you should know foundation and practitioner, but since the course references but doesn't cover what's in CSI, they really want you to have that thing as well. So if you don't have this combination, you want to have it, and then some other 4 credits, which I'm sure you have if you're doing training at this point. So that's it. One thing I want to tell you, if you visit this ITIL Practitioner page, there's a ITIL Practitioner Summit on the 25th of this month. It's a whole day set of webinars, and there are a bunch of different time zones that are sort of launching this thing, getting going, providing additional information. So I'm signed up for that. You may want to check that out. You want to get certified. We get the free posters. Those are good for, you can get those. But you get the courseware if you want to get it the digital courseware in the skill pipe format, or the hard copy courseware in the Courseware Marketplace format. You can get that in the Courseware Marketplace, but you can get everything at Pultoric.com, including the publication, the official ITIL publication, CBT, e-learning, the exams, and then Any other questions? We did check one thing this morning as well to make sure that absolutely everything is available on the exit site. I'm sure it's the same for people certain some of the other examination institute, that the online exams are live as well as the exam sessions. Everything's ready to order, ready to go. So that's it. If you have questions on, let's cover them now. But also you can always reach out to me. And I can respond to any of these different ways to get a hold of me. But let's see if we got some questions here.